So this is the actual merger plat, and I'm showing point numbers on it. And I thought I knew how to turn those off,
All right. All right.
but
There it is. Yeah,
it
fine.
doesn't seem to work. Let me show you what I've done.
All right.
I've gone to here and I've gone down to point numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that turning it off over here, freezing it over here,
Yeah.
would turn them off, but it doesn't.
All right. As long as you're in that viewport. Now, it looks to me like you're not in the viewport. You're in some viewport, but I don't see that you're in that viewport. Let me see which one you're in.
Okay, I didn't know that you could have more than 2 viewports.
Oh, you can have an infinite number. But whatever you're setting here is related to the viewport that you're active in. Okay, now go back and run that command.
Ah,
All right.
well, I wonder what that, I bet that other point number is, yeah, that was it. That was an easy fix. But that other one is for this
Yeah,
location.
yeah, it could well be. Or even if you just double click where you are right now, so that you're in paper space. Now, if you run the layers again, let me see if you still you still have that, because you're technically in a viewport. You're in the paper space viewport.
Okay.
All right. So that's why that, and it had no effect out there unless you had, decided to put a Carlson point in paper space, then you would see that take effect there.
Okay. Good. Now, the other odd thing is that in 2021, when I'm in model space, I can see this text.
Okay.
In 2022, I can't in model space.
Okay. Yeah. So what you're looking at there is there's a difference in the annotation scaling. So if you go back to paper space for a second, and what is the scale of that? That looks like inch to 100. Is that what that is?
No, I think it's 1 to, yeah, okay, it is 1 to 100, I think.
Okay, so let's go back to model space. And if you look down, oh no, that shows. I was going to look down. Let me see here. Let me request. I'm going to request remote control just so you can see where I'm pointing. So oftentimes when that happens, it's because you don't have this.
Okay, I'm clicking approve, but nothing's there.
Yeah. So often what happens is that you don't have this down here at the bottom set. But I see that it is. Man, this thing is not. It's like really, really slow. I'm going to stop remote control and restart it. I'm going to request it again. So request. See, normally it comes back and says, click to start remote control, and I still haven't got that message yet.
No, I've got a blue circle of.
Yeah, the blue circle of death. Right there. Now the screen went black, came back on.
I just approved it.
Yeah. All right. So click to start remote control. There we go. The shared screen. So I did click, and yet the mouse is nowhere. There it is. Finally. Okay. So normally it's that this annotation scale down here is not set. So but I see that that is. Now let me also double check a couple of things. I think we match up here. That's fine. If I do a crossing, I just want to make sure that it's not like black text on a black background. That's one of the things I'm trying to figure out there. So that's not there. Okay. Well, then let's look back here. And my guess is that this stuff is in paper space, and there it is. See, I'm not in the viewport and I'm just selecting it.
Okay, so if it's in paper space, you can't see it on,
No, if it's in paper space, you can't go to the model and see it in the model. It's only available out here in the paper. Because I can move this model. I can move where it's centered, and I can, maybe instead of centered right here, I could come down to center on this corner, and these blocks of text will not move with that.
okay, so I shouldn't put it in, on paper space. I should put it in model space.
Well, it depends. I mean, if where you have your stuff shown is pretty well set and decided, and you're good with that, then you could, like a lot of people will only, they'll put all of their annotation, like their general notes, their titles, their legends, their all of that stuff. They'll put all of that in paper space so they don't have to step around the text over in model space.
Okay,
Now, the one thing that you do want to always annotate in model space, though, are these bearings and distances. Okay.
yeah, I didn't do it in model space. Well, yeah, I did it in model space on this page, yeah.
Yeah. So, however you want. Okay, now that arrow is in, see, the arrow could also be in paper space if you wanted. Fix all that. And you get more of a vertical edge on that block there. There we go. So, so now let's suppose though, Mike, that you've got something. Now see this, your adjoiners, see they're in
Yeah.
paper space. Now here's a very good example of why you want to have it in paper space, because your viewport actually cuts off the view right here. So if this were in paper space, those words would clip right along that edge.
You mean if it were in model space?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, that's a reason why you do want to have this out in paper space, because you can, go past these edges a little. Now,
Okay.
So now there's a command, and you may recall me having done it before with particularly setting the north arrows. When we have a rotation involved, like I'm in here and you can see that X is up, at this angle. And if I had that, if I had the 0, 0 spot, if this were within this corner, if I didn't have that pulled up, you'd see that entire UCS icon and know that it's rotated. So to be able to do that, I want to go in here and draw a line that's due north. And then I want to figure out how to set my north arrow to whatever that, once that's rotated, see that line is off at a different angle. Well, I need to get that line in paper space, but I needed to be in model space so that it knew, which way north was oriented, because out here in paper space, quote, north is oriented up toward the top of the paper. So there's a command called change space, and it's CH SPACE. I don't know whether it's on a tool anywhere. I've never seen it in Carlson or anything else. It is a CAD tool. But what that does is it allows you to select objects and change the space that they're in. So if I wanted, for instance, and I did all these out here in paper space, but I want to see them in model space, then you could, and in this case, because it is a CAD command, I'm sure I can select the objects first. Carlson commands, a lot of times it'll clear out your selection set and you have to select them afterwards. So if I do that and then type CHSPACE, it says set the target. See, now I've selected those objects. I ran the command and it says set the target viewport active and then press enter to continue. So to set this active is I double click in it. And it says invalid input. I don't know why it says that. Invalid input, please try again, which you didn't need to have said because it still went on the next line below. After I hit enter, it said 4 objects were moved from paper space to model space, and they were scaled by a factor of 100 to maintain visual appearance. So now when I go back to my model tab, there they are at the same size, rotation, and scaling that they were in paper space. Okay. Let's see, I missed that one that right in here. I didn't get that one, but so that's, yeah, this one right here. So this one is still there. Now, if you want to go the other way around, you would do the same thing. Select the ones you want or not. It'll prompt you if you haven't selected anything yet. And I double clicked inside the model space. So I'm in model space in that sheet. So now I'm going to CHSPACE. And it says set the viewport active. I'm going to click outside of it and hit enter. Maybe that's what I did wrong. I double clicked it and I should have just simply selected that object. And oh, and also if I want these not to be in model space, but in paper space, again, same thing, CHSPACE, click out here, hit enter. They're now there. And if I did, let's do it without selecting anything. So if you don't select an object first when you run the command, you have one further option. It says select the entity to copy or move. And if you say copy, then it leaves the original right where it is, model space or paper space, and then puts a copy of it scaled and positioned wherever it needs to be in the other space. But if you just say move, which is the default, then you select the entity. Now select the target and hit enter. Okay, so I just hit one too many enter keys. All right, so change space, set the target viewport active. So I think that, and then hit enter. Yeah, that's what caused that error message. Instead of double clicking inside it, just select the object. And so now those are also now moved to paper space. But you can move them back and forth that same way. Okay. So if you got something in model space you would like to have in paper space, just double click inside the viewport that you want to be in, select that object or those objects, run that command. And then when it asks you to set the current viewport active and press enter, click the paper once and then press enter. The other direction, if you've got something in paper space that you want to have in model space, you would select the object, Like if I do this one and change space for that, set the target viewpoint active and press enter. So I'm going to select it once and then hit enter. And so that went from paper space to model space, although I didn't see it there. There it is, way down there. I'm not sure that one went where it was supposed to be. Let me see if that's not annotated. Of course, neither is that. All right, 0.12.1. So now that one went off somewhere down to the side and stayed large. Let's try this one. Select and then press enter. Now let me see, undo that. Something. Set the target. Okay, it's not click the edge, but click inside. So there we go. So now I did that one. And if I select this one and CH space, selected, set the target viewport active. So I'm just going to click once inside it and then press enter. Now see what it did right there is it clicked that. And I have to wonder if it will do something that's not at all crossing it. So if I want to do this one, change space, set that one active, press enter. Yeah, it put it there, but it's huge, as you can see with that. So I'm going to suppose that, well, of course, it's a scaled object too. There's either something with the scaling or there's something if it does not.
I'm wondering if that north arrow is right.
All right, let's see. Yeah, because see, that's the direction it would be in model space. You see this?
Yeah.
So if I'm in paper space, let me undo that CH space to get the words back. All right, let's make sure that is yeah. Managed to lose those words there. Let's see now. Huh. I have no idea why my undo did not bring that little statement back. So let's open up any drawing.
Well, I have 2021 open with another drawing.
Well, just let's open this one. I'll show you why. Go back to open this drawing without saving it here. Go back and open it again from the drive.
On the start page.
Yeah. This files and will now be the. No, I say okay to that. Now, so apparently it won't do it that way. So do it this way. Go up to the file menu and choose open. And now that's the one right there, except now before you do that, hit the browse button. All right, and now before you do that, go down to the right where it says files of type, pull that down to see if it allows you to choose BAK. It does not. So just in the file name box to the left, type asterisk period asterisk. Hit enter and then look for that 22008 Henry.BAK. Try that one, yeah. Oh, fine. All right, go ahead, hit okay. Let me try this one more time. This is some of the IntelliCAD stuff. So I'm going to the other, I think the AutoCAD based version, instead of telling you that it's already open and it's going to switch you to that one, it allows you to open it read only. So now I'm going to open this copy that I made. And now I'm going to select, they get both. Yeah. So I'm going to select this guy. I'm going to say right click, clipboard, copy with base point. I'll just grab that upper right corner of that inner frame. I'm now done with that drawing. I can throw it away at will. I'll come back to this one and I will clipboard paste and put it right back there. And that way I don't have to try to rotate it and match it because I got it out of its original self back in the previously saved version. Had I saved this before I had done that, I wouldn't be able to do that unless, well, I might could have with the BAK file, but certainly not from its own DWG file. All right, so with that, let's save that drawing. And now you were wondering whether this was set correctly, okay?
Yeah.
And so here's how we're going to verify that. If you, first of all, you can look inside here and sort of get a sense of the direction these lines are running. Like here's one that's north 18 east. So you could do something like this. You could say, draw a polyline. And you could just, now I'm in paper space, but it's going to let me snap out to here. Okay. So now I've got that, that snapped to that line because it will snap to things and yet still keep it in paper space. So I'm going to now just move this guy out here to the side. And if that is at north 180950 east, if I rotate that by that amount of angle counterclockwise, it should match this north arrow, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so I would go to rotate. I'm over here on the right hand vertical set of tools, rotate from here. And because it's a counterclockwise rotation, it's going to be a positive rotation. So the angle I'm going to do it is 18 D for degree, 09 minute, which is the single apostrophe, 50 seconds, which is the quote mark, and hit enter. Now that's going to be there. I now will take that over to here and see that indeed it's at the correct orientation.
Okay.
So that's one way. The other way to do it, and the way that I did it to begin with, was I went to model space. Now you see my UCS icon over here.
Yeah.
So I can look at that, and visually I can say, well, I know that north is rotated into what would normally be the northwest quadrant. I don't know if it's exactly right, but I can at least visually confirm it's probably right. But I can also, though, and here's what I did was, whenever I'm in the model, and if I'm in a rotated coordinate system, I would going to make sure that I type UCS and that I go back to the world. I'm in the W or world coordinate system. And now, while in that model, I'm going to draw a polyline, and I'm going to draw it from here. And I can just go, well, any number, let's see, like D for distance, 200 feet. And the direction method is going to be A for angle. And so I'm going to enter a code, northeast, southeast, et cetera, 5 for azimuth, whatever. Let's just do a 5 azimuth, and it'll be a 0 degrees. So I'll just type 0, hit enter, and hit enter to finish, or Q to finish, or whatever it is. All right. So now there's that one in model space. And if I go back to my model tab, you would see it over there. So what I need to do to be able to set something over here is change that from model space into paper space. So I would either pre-select it, or if I pre-select it, I've got to be in there. So then CH space, set the target viewport. So I'm just going to click out here into paper space and hit enter. It's now in paper space, and I can move that anywhere around that I want. So I'm just going to move it, and then use that to compare with. Or when I inserted this north arrow, it went at its north rotation, and then I had to move it, rotate it about that center point there, up to the nose of the north arrow as well. And then one final thing that you could have done, and maybe we did it this way. If once we're in the viewport, if we go to annotate and choose draw north arrow. So let's find, I don't have any idea. Is the one that we have in there, is it from?
I have no idea. It's been too long ago. We did that years ago.
That looks like it. All right, so if I set that, That's north 18. So if I choose, oh, that's what I meant to be doing. I didn't mean to be editing. So that north 18. And I just put it here. Okay. So then what I needed to do with that, because that's in model space, but I want my north out here. So instead of having to make my viewport go way out here, I'm just going to select that and change space. Click out here, press enter. Now I've got this in paper space that I can move anywhere I want and scale. So let's say if I make that, let's just say 2 times bigger than it was. See, we're getting close to whatever scale this was. And this one was a scale of 1 at that level. And it's a scale of 2 at this level because it actually was from a different block, originating in a different space. And see, like that is all solid. Those are open. You know, so you know, a number of ways of doing that. Probably the easiest, though, to make sure that you're always going to be oriented to north according to your coordinate systems, is to start out in model space, go to your annotate menu and draw a north arrow, or draw a polyline due north, and then change space it so you can get it out here to paper space, and you can play around with the size and put this statement on it or whatever.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, now let me go to model space here. You showed me how to do this once before, but I don't remember.
Mhm.
It's not letting me use
It looks like you're struggling with the mouse, and I was just going to reassure you, I wasn't doing anything with the mouse. Sometimes it just sort of lags on that.
Okay, I want to change the dimensions of this septic reserve area. Right now it's 100 by 100, and I want to make it 80 feet wide by 125 feet. And
Okay.
there was a way that you were just moving the corners and you could move them a specific distance.
Right. Right.
And I don't remember how to do that.
Okay.
I tried just dragging it, but I could drag it, but it wouldn't.
Yeah, but the problem is when you drag it by a corner, the corner itself will drag and the other corner won't drag with it.
Right.
So if you want it to drag by a specific distance, then you got to drag by the midpoint. Okay, so you click and start your stretch from there. And now, once you're started, you would type the distance, but you have to make sure you're started along a particular axis. And that's where we have to set something or verify something in your O-snaps. So for now, go ahead and press escape so that we're not doing this because it's going to be slightly skewed. Go down to the O-snap button and right click it and choose settings. It's the very last one. Okay, now okay, I see that you do have on that one that says extension. And what that's going to allow is when we hover over a grip or a particular snap point, it's going to also allow them the extension of that point. So as an illustration, for instance, if I were to say, select this and you see this grip. Now see how that moves everything around, but it's sort of odd. But if I go back now and hover over that, you see that line, I'm now getting the endpoint. And now when I go out, well, supposed to. it's supposed to pick up that extension. I'm not seeing that happening right now. And by extension, I mean, it would just extend that, but that's not working. You got two lines going over here.
One's the fence line, one's the boundary line, and
Gotcha.
that's one, I need for you to show me how to make that a fence line.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see if we can get this thing set here. So if this is right now, it's 100 by 100. Is it square? It looks square. I guess it is.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Then if we want that to go, see, I want to be able to hover there and then extend. Oh gosh, I know, this is so sorry. Down there on the bottom was also these polar tracking
Yeah,
and this entity snap tracking on and off. Right now it's off. If I double click that and turn it on, that's why this wasn't working on the endpoint. So now if I go to stretch this and I go back up here and grab that endpoint, and then see how it gives those extensions.
yeah,
And I'm hovering. Now, when you hover on this corner point, it doesn't know if it's the end point of the line that's down to the right or if it's up and to the right. So if I hover over this back part of it, now it knows it's the end point of that line. So when I do that and then I come through that point, that's what sets this to be an extension of that line. And see, this extension doesn't show up. Now I do get my horizontal and vertical in addition, but if I want to go to the extension of this bottom line, I'll hover over this and then come out. And by the way, when you hover over it, it's a switch. It turns it on and off. So if I hover, it'll pick up the extensions, and then if I re-hover, it turns it off. So now I'm on it, and if I just go back and let it hover, and once it tells me endpoint, you see it turns it off. All right. So now with that, and as long as we have midpoint snaps on, which if I recall, we do right here. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to sit on that grip and start to move this. But if I want to extend that, I'm going to come back and grab that, hover over the grip. Well, and of course, it's not going to work in that regard. All right. So I don't know why. It does that. And of course, if I do that with the shift key, okay, well, here's, I'm not getting that part behaving as well. So here's one thing I want you to think about doing also is we have a Carlson command that would be very useful to do this anyway. And like which one's supposed to be 80 and which one's supposed to be 125, right?
right.
And does one particular edge stay?
Yeah, that one stays.
Okay, so go up to your edit menu and let's do a variable offset, because we know we're going to have a 25 foot or a 20 foot. So we're going to do a variable offset, and we're going to offset this by line segments. because we want the whole line to go. So there you go. Now select the polyline. And again, it has to be a polyline, and that is so. And now which side to offset? Now, in this case, we're going to do this, twice, and then or let's set the outside ones first for sure. And I'm not sure if it'll take a negative offset, but we'll see. So just click on which says click to the outside, and now you see the marker. So how far does that get offset? That one would be 0. You see the arrows. So hit enter. And now the next line, how far does that one go? So are you bringing that 20 feet in or 10?
25, increasing that dimension by
By
25 feet.
So the line across the top stays where it is also?
Across the top here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not going 12.5 feet on each side, you're going 25 feet on this side. So that would be 25. That's correct. So it'd be 25.
Well, it's going to be going the wrong direction, isn't it?
No,
Oh, okay, you're right.
okay. All right. And so now,
Those arrows don't change until you move the mouse.
oh, okay. All right. So now this one is the one that's going to be minus 20 if it will read a negative. I'm not sure it will. Go ahead.
Error.
All right. So say 0. Crap. All right. It's the error.
Out altogether.
The arrow interrupted us. So just press or go back and run the command again. All right, now go to the outside, click, and then that one's 0. The next one is 25. And then just leave that one at 0. Just type 0. And then 0 for the last one.
I'm not seeing the arrows anymore.
Yeah, type 0 and hit enter again. Oh, wait, no, you're running the command again. Okay, so now press escape and just roll the wheel so it, there you go, clears it. So now we've stretched that one edge out 25 feet. Now let's select the original line, which is, you can get the shorter one if you get it right here. See, there's that one. And let's just delete that one. Now let's run the command again, but this time we're going to offset to the inside and we're going to set that one edge to 20 feet. And probably when you're not seeing those arrows highlighted, it's probably got something to do with going across the zoom, but because it usually shows up as you walk around. All right. So that one's 0. There's 20. There you go. Okay, now press enter to end and get rid of your original. There you go. So that's done that. Now, does it need to be dashed or anything like that?
No, for a subject reserve, I just thought I need to move it a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Let's save this
Yeah.
far away. Okay, now the other thing is I'm having trouble with my area table.
All right, do you need to dimension that reserve at all to show it's 80 by 125?
No, I'm going to show it that it's 10,000 square feet, but
Okay, that's fine. All right. So now we'll come back to this one. Okey doke. So now, because that's an OLE or object linking and embedding object, you want to double click it so that it brings up the Excel spreadsheet. I'm trying to get my mouse to let go. There we go. So now just double click. One of the words is fine. What does it say?
nothing happens when I double click it unless I double click the edge of it for some reason.
All
Well, actually, it's not happening at all now.
right, let me see here. Yeah, it's an OLE object. All right, so if I select it and right click and do what? Oh, there's change space, by the way, under right click tools. But yeah, I should be able to that.
Now I can go to where that area table is.
Yeah. But why did it lose its link? See, it's under its properties. It knows it's Microsoft Excel worksheet.
Yeah.
So why is, let me try this for a second. If I frame, no, frames 3. Area 2, oops, let's see here. Yeah, see? Doesn't tell me what the error is, just that there is an error. All right. Now this is very strange. It's another object. Let's seemingly disappeared, just like this up here seemed to have disappeared. And undo didn't bring it back. So now, why? Why is it not? Okay, error processing. Olay object. Okay, understood. But I want you to process the Olay object, OLE object. So why won't you? All right, so let's do this. We'll save this. And let's close out of that and restart it entirely. What is this? Terra model.
Well, that's 2021 version.
Yeah, see, so yeah, see, there was something going on with this. This is 2021. We got something open in that. Close that. Do you want to save this?
No.
All right, so now is this 2022 right
Yes.
here? Yes, okay. Not the one I wanted. That was the copy, which we might go back to it at some point. So I don't want to. What is it doing? All right, here we go. Now, well, it was all my hopes and dreams. It didn't work there. So we will need to go back and get it from here. And I'm going to,
I know where the merger cable is in my files.
well, it should keep the link. I want to keep this object here. So I'm going to select it out of that original one and do a clipboard copy with base point, say that lower left frame position. And I'm going to come here. Get rid of that one and clipboard paste it back to that same spot. Now, there's that. Now, if I wow, it still says error. What about this one? See, that one works. That one's that one's broken. All right. So all right, let's find that. Let me Just to make sure we got all the sizes and everything correct. Now this one still just went kablooky. All right, so there's something wrong with this one. Now, if we go to this, that also gives the error. So do we happen to have, or you say you know where that one is, where this link? All right, so this is on title block notes. We will make that our current layer. And let's just get rid of this. Now, go ahead and go to that that spreadsheet.
I hate this new version of
Excel.
Microsoft.
Now, that's the one you want, right? Okay, so now before we link that one, because that one came out of your CAD resources,
Yeah.
so that you could use it anywhere and everywhere. Let's do a save as, because we're going to make some specific numbers and it's going to be in this project. So go ahead and do a save as. Yeah, and put it in this Henry folder. And I'm with you as far as hating, Microsoft jumps on all these new trends with interface, and
put it in the Carlson file.
Yeah, wherever you have it. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Well, cancel this then, and then yeah, just go ahead and cancel that up there. There you go. And now go back to that folder and let's open it from there. It was in Carlson. There you go. Okay. Now, is that what you want it to say?
No, I mean, I've got to set it up for this particular job.
Okay. So do you know what those numbers are yet?
Yeah, they're on the plat. There are 3 lots. There's lot number 4, lot number 1, and lot number 2.
Okay.
I don't have a total acreage for lot number 4, but I can add those 2 numbers together and get it.
We can do that.
Okay, it's 4.02 acres. So I need to add a column to this because there are 3 lots.
Yep. So right click, say items. Yeah, so right click in there and insert. There you go.
Okay, so that's lot 4. Oh.
We'll fix that in a second.
Okay, let's see, lot 1 is lot 1 before merger is 5.480. What did I say that was?
5.480.
And then lot 2 before merger is 9.767. Should I go ahead and increase the decimal places here?
Yeah, if you want to leave those as a number, notice we have the units down there. We have
Yeah.
AC period. So we treated the whole thing as text is what we wound up doing. So if you go back to that 4.02, if you click in that one, for instance, and go up there to the edit field above it. Yeah, right in there, or go to the right, click to the right and put 0 space AC period.
0 space AC.
Well, I'd put a capital A just to be consistent. There you go. Capital A, then little c period. So it's 4.02 acres, but now because of the letters in it, it's going to treat it like text.
Okay.
So just hit enter and then go to the same thing for 548. Now there are ways to still keep that as just a number and even have the acres show up, but it gets to be some fancy formatting. Right now, it's a 3-lot table. So I would just put 0 space capital A little c period and be done with it. Period.
Oh, period after the acre.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have to, but if you're not going to do it there, don't do it anywhere. There you go. And now do those whole things. Now, if you wanted the spreadsheet to make sure you add up those numbers as a check, then you would have had to have kept those as numbers.
Yeah, no, I can do the
The math
fine.
is not calculus level, so you're fine.
Right.
So, and even if it is, I'm sure you've done calculus in your time.
I have, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm merging 2.505 acres. And that
Yeah, that quote tells it that it's text. If you click back up in the 5480 after you finish this one,
okay.
you should see a quote up there too. Well, maybe not. All right, maybe we've told it as text. So, or actually, we probably had to do that because of the minus symbol. But a single quote says, okay, treat everything after this as text.
Okay, and what was left was 1.515. Okay, and the merger. Is 7.505 and then 7.985. Shoot. Now to put a plus here, do I need to put the quote?
Yeah, I would. No, single, like a foot mark, an apostrophe. That's what I meant. A single quote instead of double quote. There you go. Now it's 2.505, was it? Oops. Okay, go. Yeah, go ahead. There you go. And that's going to be 7,985.
But actually, that isn't the final area of lot
Oh,
one.
okay.
The final area of lot one is actually 0 because all of lot one gets merged to lot two.
I see.
So let's see, how do I indicate that?
Well, lot one needs to also have a negative wait a minute, lot one gives up 2.505 to lot four and 1.248 to lot two. Is that right?
Well, sequentially, what's happening here is merging 2.505 acres with this,
Okay.
creating a 7.985 acre parcel. And then he's merging all the 7.985 acres
Into lot two.
into lot two.
Hmm.
This should actually say before merger of lot one.
All right, so which is what
Oh no, that's merger two, that's right.
yeah, merger two from lot one, I see there. That's
Yeah.
all right. So what is the lot to the east? What is that number? That's lot four originally.
Yeah.
So lot four in your table. If we go back to the table. So lot four gives 2.505 to lot two. Lot two then gives that.
What I need to do here is call this merger one.
All right,
I need to add another
another row.
row.
So click on the four next to merger. No, over to the row number four. Row number. There you go. Right click and insert. There you go. So now I'll make that merger one and merger two. There we go.
Okay, so I need to move that. Okay, there is nothing in there for
All right,
merge.
so, yeah, just leave it blank then.
Yeah. Then lot one. Okay, then lot.
And then it,
So I need
so
a,
down the underneath that, it's going to be minus 7.985, right?
yes,
Okay.
and I need the,
There you go. You missed a 9. There you go. Now click to the end of it and put the space AC period.
oops.
Oh, could you click it again? There. Okay.
That's a different size.
Yeah, we'll fix that in just a second.
Okay. And then the final acreage of lot one is 0.
0. Okay. Now that third row of lot 2, make sure you put the space between the 8 and the A. There you go. All right, now to make that match, and notice that the left-hand border is gray instead of black. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the row above it, the 2505. Let's click up in the 2505.
I'm not seeing the 2505.
Right above the 7, right there. Right click and copy. Up, up, up. There you go. Now go down below and right click and paste special. Or if the icon is self-explanatory, we'll right click. Now see the paste options you have, hover over those. See that says paste, you don't want to do that, go there, that's values, you don't want that. You don't want that, no, yes. Okay, now press escape and everything's good. It's the right font, it's the right borders, everything.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
cool.
now.
Okay, and I need to look back at my drawing here because lot 2 area can't be correct as I've got it on there. Yeah. So it's 9.767. And then it's adding 7.985.
Yeah, so that's plus 7.985, yeah. There you go. And then there's your total.
Which was
17. 17,749, I think.
oops. Have too many acres there.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes away in the display when you're editing up there, so.
Damn, I deleted the whole thing. Let me put a 0 in here. Think I need it in there to make it clear.
Well, you could, wouldn't hurt, but you could also just shade it if you wanted to do that. There's any number of ways you could show it if you like.
So what was that? I'll look again.
17,
17,752.
752, okay. Yeah, I think I did the math wrong on my head, so 17,752. Now click off of it and it should come back. There we go. So 7 5's 12, 6 and 8's 14, carry the 1's 15, carry the 1, the 7, and carry the 1, 17, perfect. Okay. So now you could say click here and do something like you could do,
Yeah, that's good.
okay, do the same thing here, format cells.
I know I learned Carlson from you. I learned Excel too.
Excel, yeah. And you can do the same thing, you could set that to be shaded for a header if you want, it's just, we could give that maybe a little lighter. And it could be there centered, or you could do it, any way you want that to look.
Yeah, I think centered looks good.
All right, now let's see, let's make sure that, because I don't see the heavy lines on the top and the left. They may be there. It may just be because they're jammed up against the edges, but I'm going to select the whole table. Whoops. I'll select all of that, right click and format, and make sure that my border is this heavier one all the way around the edges. Looks like it is. So we outline heavy and be done. All right, so it's there. We just can't see it because it's up against the edges. All right, so now your table's there. We're going to save this file. And now before you do that, we have to select it and copy and then paste it back into our drawing. So we're going to select all of it there. We'll right click and copy, and now go to your drawing. I'll let you drive. And now we're going to come back and right in there somewhere, we're just going to right click, paste. It should be under clipboard. There you go. And we're going to paste special. Okay. And see there, it recognizes where it comes from. So we're going to say that, and we're going to say, okay. And I would grab that lower, that red, no, keep right there. Click. Okay, so it's a little bit bigger, you see, because we added a row and a column, and that's fine. So now select those two red lines and erase them. That was just to show us where the other one was. Okay. And there it is. And now let's go back to Excel. And you can now close that or press escape so it's no longer pending in operation. There you go. Now save it if you want, or either way. And now just close it. And so now if you double click it, you should be able to edit it. I mean, you probably have to get the frame. Yeah, see that works fine. Okay. And then save that.
Okay. Oh, one more thing. We
got the fence line to do.
Yeah, but remind me about the printing before we
Okay.
leave. So I want to look at that on the model, I guess. And I have a layer called fence line, but
It's using a line type of continuous. There you go.
which I don't want to do.
Right. So you want to find that fence line, and if it's not there, we may have to load one. I don't see it. It goes from D to G, I think.
Yeah. So load.
Yeah. And now scroll that down till you see, and it's pretty big, so I have to keep scrolling. All right, now go back up. You're past the Fs. There's a fence line 1 and a fence line 2. One's got a circle, one's got a square. So neither one of them is going to really work for us. So it's not in this big file that we can load from. So let's see.
Somewhere I've got it on another drawing.
All right, we could take it from there. We do have this one, but that's really not what we want. So let's do that. Let's find it from the other drawing. There's another way we can do this as well. We can just go up to that. We could go to the annotate and this line types, and we could set it this way from change polyline line type, and we could set for that one specific line, but I want to set it for the whole layer so that you have it. So let's go to the other file that you have.
Let me think of one I had a fence line on. Okay, I know one. I think.
Yeah, it looks like one there.
Yeah.
Is that a fence? That looks like a,
Yeah, it's a fence.
yeah, see, that looks like, hold on a second. So if I move this out to here, whoops, yeah, there we go. So that's that. Do you want it to be that, or do you want an X?
An X.
Okay, so we need to, have you already submitted this drawing?
Yes, this drawing is finished.
So it was apparently, did it use that symbol?
Yeah, that's what we did when we set it up. I don't remember why we did it, but that's what we did.
Wonder why it's got that character. I tell you why it's got that character, I'll bet you, is that it had a different font in effect. See, this fence line here, let's just sit on that for a second and let's draw a fence line here using current properties and see what that looks like. Yeah, see this, and I'll get rid of these here. So that fence line definition uses a character out of an alphabet that is the shift 3 character. So my guess is that the text style that originally set that up, here's one called symbol. So if that's the current text style, and then if I do this, I wonder if it will. No. Let me see. Text styles. Try something here. I'll put it back, but I don't know if this. No, I didn't do that. All right, it wasn't symbol.
Or should we go back to the drawing in question? Forget Peterson.
Well, no, I want to. There's a shape file that's not. Not doing that correctly. Let me see here. Let's see, line types. There's a fence X. Sort by name. I do that. Fence X line. Somewhere that got defined with that pound symbol instead of an X. All right, so if we do this, let's see here. See, that's supposed to be an X, and this little appearance column, we can't zoom in and look at that, so that's just sort of left us sort of high and dry. So let's do this. We can fix this one while we're at it, even though you've already turned this in, and that's okay if you've got it like that, because you did not have a legend on this. You do say it's a wire fence, so that's okay. You've got it called out, so that part's, even though it's not what we really wanted, it's still symbolically correct. It's whatever we wanted it to be.
Wow, what happened to that?
Oh. I need to. Yeah, that's Arial. There we go.
Okay.
All right, so if we select that, and if we do it with this, let's find, oops, there's a fence. B. For a second, let's see this. Maybe it'll get better. No, that's way too big. All right, so that's, what is their scale here? All right, so let's take this. Let me double check something too. Yeah, we're at 1. All right, so now we'll take this. And we'll go to our fence B. Oops. All right, we know that's already done. Let's, I'm going to say fence B, but we're going to say down here, the spacing scalar is, let's say every 1.25 inches. The symbol size, we want to be 0.065, for instance, in the gap, we want to be, say, 1/10. The text style standard, that should work. Say okay, now we pick that. Whoa. Good Lord. I know what I did. I picked the wrong. I picked the wrong thing. So I wanted to, okay, there we go. Now we choose that fence B. And if we set that line type scale back to 1. All right, so we're good with that to a almost. Let's see, we've got extra dash spacing. All right. Now let's probably tone this down to, it's reading that gap differently. Let's try. 0.75 symbol size 0.065 the gap size factor. It's a factor, it's not a scalar. All right, let's see if that will do it. It's okay, what's our, let me see. We set our current to be continuous. Now let's see if that does it. No. There's something. Don't want an extra dash. Why is it doing those as dots? All right, let's see a minute. And there's that. I'll set this up to 0.08, for instance. That's not really what we want, though. So that is what we want, but we want the gap. And if we say gap, yeah, I've got to choose. So that's not what I want. I want that. No. Well, it's not doing us very well here. Let's try a little trick. We're going to you don't have it in Express Tools. Here's multi-line manager, but I want the AutoCAD Express Tools let you build a line style. change that back to continuous. Okay, now if we choose everything like that, oops. No. Huh. Well, no. So let's see here a minute. All right, if we line type, we've got all of these different fence things that we've been setting. And so two things are still that. All right, if we make a new one. Fence line 1, fence line 2, that's circle and square. None of those would be what we need. So if we browse to a different one, now let's find in the iCAD load file, see if we can find it. Still circle and square. Not there. So let's look in Carlson line. There's a fence line X. There it is. All right, let's see if that has done it. We'll do this, set it back to by layer. And we will define the layer instead of fence X, we will set it to just plain old fence. Wow. See, anything that it's setting. No, it did that one okay. All right, so then there's something wrong with that fence definition. That should be a continuous line, and it's only putting down the endpoints. Let me try something here. Nope. All right, we need. So even when it went back to that one we just loaded, boy, there's something. Something. Screw with that. By layer. It's by layer. Set your units up here a little. All right. Huh. All right, we're gonna look in. Take a look at C&G. CG fence line. Yeah, see there?
Yeah.
Well, close this and not save it. We'll leave it as it's supposed to have been. Let me save this. Let me come back to this. And that was Peterson. All right. All right, so that on fence 1081. So this is that. And that. So if we take all right, now we need to close 2021. We come back here and that's open. Peterson. But look. What is going on with that?
Looks like the gaps in the fence on the right.
Yeah, I know. I just copied that over. So so if that is turn line type generation off, it gets it. If we type line type generation on, it's putting too much gap. So the definition of the line type appears to start with the gap instead of the line. So it's applying the gap where it's supposed to be applying the line. So if I were to do that and turn line type generation off, no, it doesn't fix that one. Of course, it doesn't make any sense. Let's see. All right, let me do a quick search here. My type. All right, let's see. Okay. MKL type. Yeah. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's look at the Carlson. Explore. All right. So we're going to look at the line file. We've got Carlson, CG, and LCAD and LCAD ISO, or ICAD and ICAD ISO. So if we look at Carlson, LIN, we're going to open with Notepad. And let's find our fence. Here's a fence line X. So it's 0.5 for the line, 0.05 for the gap, the letter X with the standard font size is 0.06. Let's make it 0.8. 0, X minus, what is it, Y? So that should be okay. Save. Keep that open for just a second. And then here we're going to, oops, L type, oops, L type. Come on, LTYPE. LT. Let's just try LT. There we go. Now let's load and let's browse and use roaming Carlson, what we just did, and find fence. All right, so that's going to be on layer fence by layer. So if we set fence to be fence, still comes up with that. All right. What about if we just drew that? Now, if we do the same thing, if we set So it gets that. Wow. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Spacing, every inch, symbol size, gap size factor. Yeah, let's see. All right, that's two. That creates it as individual components, which we don't want. But if we try this setting this. Line type, oh, sorry, it's this one. At every inch. If it'll take a 0. And then if we make that a 1. Okay, so that is a factor that sets the gap size as a multiple of the text height, but it still doesn't explain that. So 108, 1. Let's set this to different font, see what effect that has. Ah, look at that. You zoom in close enough. Oh, this is just a, oh, see that? It's fine. The problem is, or what happened, is just a visual thing, probably due to Zoom. God, I hate this. All right, let's see, we're gonna go every inch and a quarter. We're gonna set the text to be 0.065. Gap is 1. And we're gonna go to this one, and we're gonna choose, say, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And this one we want to be there, but let's set the all right, so there's that one. And if we set the line type generation, all right, so that'll pick that one up. Now we'll set this back to inch and a quarter. 0.065, the gap size factor, say 3.5. Okay. No, it still needs to be a little smaller. Half an inch. Better. Now let's see what happens with this. There. Okay. Or could let it flow through. That'll be all right. All right. So if we were to plot this, let's make sure that the plotting works. Set that to that. And that is our ANSI C. No. Architect C, 18 by 24. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. We'll just call it oh, sorry. And we'll call this one test as well. Now bring that over on the screen. Let me look at it.
Hasn't come up yet. Okay, it just came up.
All right, so that is going to be, and let me, that looks fine there. Looks fine there. Okay, so it's just parent, I'll go ahead and save this. And then we're going to take that line style or that layer. I think that line style is that line style. Is fence 125.07.035. So if this is set to by layer, and then if the layer is defined as is 125.07.035. Now, with the exception of the fact that it won't regenerate for us here, it's still, when I zoom in close enough, it gets to where it shows it. Okay. So we'll save that. We will copy that layer now into Henry. And do we have a layer already called fence?
Yes, we do.
So FEN, all right. Well, it's called fence line. Okay, so we could either take the whole layer or let's take the line types. And we'll find this 125.07.035 and bring that here. And now we go back to layers, fence line, and we'll set that line type to fence 125.07.035, whatever, yep. And we'll say, okay, now. There's your line. And there it shows up solid, so we can. Yeah, it's only going to have the two X's. Do you want to make that slightly smaller?
No, I think that conveys it.
Okay. So, and if you did one, to change that, there's two ways. If you select the, let's go over to here and actually see it. All right. If you select the line and change its line type scale, let's say make it 0.5 instead of 1, what you'll see is the X's will get twice as close, but they'll also, the size of the X goes down to half of its original size. And that might be, okay. Or if you wanted to keep that same text style or size, you would go through this polyline to line type, and you set that was originally 1 1/4 inches. Let's say we set it to every 0.75. And we set our symbol size a little smaller, or let's leave it as 0.08. Gap size is 0.35. And let's set it to, instead of the Arial, let's set it to this, just Leroy type. We'll set that. We'll choose this line. So that now won't be quite so heavy with the X. And now if we set this back to be by layer, which is what we would typically want, but not the layer. Line type. So set that by layer. Now we need to change the layer definition. Instead of that one, we'll find the one that we just created, which was this one. And then under merger plat, you see it'll look like that. Or is that, I mean, is that too close together with X's, or would you rather?
No, that's fine.
Fine, okay.
Yeah.
Okie doke. What next?
Plot styles. I've been having trouble if I go to plot this.
Okay.
Well, actually, it looks like it's going to work this time.
Now you're still pointed to Peterson, so yeah, there you go.
This is
Henry.
Henry. J.R. Kind of looks fine. It
Okay.
works.
All right, now, if you look at your legend, you've got your septic reserve in the legend showing as a dash line.
Oh, yeah.
So you could have it match if you'd like.
Yeah, I probably should.
So let's go down to that legend and see if that's on a particular layer maybe that we need to match. Just select the line of the legend. There, yeah. Select that, and that's on layer septic. Now go up to your actual and double click in the viewport and see if that's on layer septic. It is. The line type says continuous, so pull that down and change to by layer. There you go. Now escape and take a look at that. That looks good, except now zoom into that a minute. Let me show you something. You see the corners?
Yeah.
There's a gap. If you select that polyline, it ran through the corner because of that. Exactly right. So if you change that to no, you'll get the corners definitively. And now press escape and you'll see the corners show up. There you go. Exactly what you want.
Okay. I'm using this point as an unmarked point, this symbol as an unmarked point.
Okay.
And I don't really like it, but I don't see anything that I like better.
All right. Let me do something real quick that I'm noticing is right now, anything you draw, no matter what layer you're on, because we set this before over here, it would be a continuous line type. So I'm going to put that back to be by layer.
Okay.
And then whatever, right now you're on layer fence line, so whatever layer you want to be on, you need to set that whenever you're ready. Okay.
Let me go ahead and put this,
I double clicked out of your viewport. If you need to be inside it, go ahead. Okay.
uh,
If you want all of those, get them select similar, first of all, if you want them all to go at once.
okay, remind me how
Right there. But
it looks similar.
yep. And then now set your draw order. There you go.
So I need to get that, well, it's got a
That-
symbol
That
different.
unmarked corner, yeah.
Huh, you zoom out and it disappears.
Yeah, that's something to do with being on Zoom, Mike, and I don't know how to.
Okay, so I just need to change that. I need to change my unmarked corner symbol to that. What is that?
Well, it's a diamond, but you go back up there and let's take a look at the point. So if we double click that. On the symbol tab, and then you click the symbol name, or either one, yeah, either the set or the picture, either one, and now you can
Guess I'd be using a wipeout, wouldn't I?
potentially, there it is,
That's it.
yeah. But now when you use the wipeout, go ahead and I'll show you what you have. It's going to look like that, and that could be fine. That could be exactly what you want.
Okay, can I select, is there any way to select similar and make that
Yeah.
change?
Exactly. Go to the well, not that one. Now that you've changed that one, go get the other one to the left of it. Now, those particular points, are they on a specific layer?
No, boundary.
But you also have other points that you don't want to be that are on that layer?
Yeah, everything, every point that has something to do with the boundary is on that layer.
Yeah, so you can't do a select similar.
So I just have to do one at a time.
Yeah. Let me see here.
There aren't that many.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Okay. Now, one thing to go ahead and set these up, and I'll show you something too when we get done with that. Yep, one more before you leave. There you go.
Oh. Okay, this should be,
That now select similar and bring those to the front. There you go. Now, if you find any other unmarked points,
or any others, but let me look. Here, actually, these are unmarked.
okay.
I'm getting pretty close. You got to put setback limits. Oh,
Okay.
let me put my signature in there.
All right.
do that.
Make sure you're out of the viewport now, back into paper space. There you go. Make sure your layer is going to be your, set your layer to be probably title block line work or something like that. So far, so good. There you go. Remember, when in doubt, right click, or you choose that either way.
Huh, where's my signature?
Probably in your CAD support. Right now, you're in the Peterson file. There you go. Your CAD resources, I mean.
Oh,
Yep, almost. There you go. Yep. Okay, there it is. Now make it bigger if you need to. We'll fix that view situation in a minute.
let me do this first so I can see it.
Yep. There you go. And make sure when you get down over the line, if you don't want to snap to it, set your temporary object snap to none. There you go. Perfect. And if you want, all right, now type frames or frame, either one. And enter. Now it can either be 0, 1, 2, or 3. If you type 0, you won't see them, and that's probably what you want anyway. But if you need to, work on that object, if you click about where the frame is, you should be able to still select it, or just do a crossing and see if you can pick it up. Yeah, so you can still grab it that way, even if the frame's not visible. All right, so now escape that, and that's done. Now, here is something that I was noticing when we're doing the points. So if you zoom in, let's zoom in over here, and you see how that is vertically, oriented.
Yeah.
Now, if we look at these, they're not. Okay. So to make those so that they are, what we need to do is to twist the points. Okay, so let's go up to the points menu, and we are in the paper space or we are in the model, which is where we want to be. So we're going to go to points, and we go down to that last big block, and we're going to say twist point attributes.
From point utilities?
No, the block of.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there you go. Twist point attributes. And it wants to know twist by which method, and we're going to say by the twist screen, because we have a twist screen in effect.
So that's just the enter.
Correct. And so now, which attributes do you want to twist? Well, you could say all, and it would get the point numbers and everything, but they're frozen, or we could just say symbol, anything you want. Right now, it's set to description, so make sure you choose what is we're going to use. All right, and so now the angle relative to the current twist screen is going to be 0, because we want it to be the same as. And now select the points. So tell it how you're going to select them. So by screen is fine. And now just pick the point you want to twist. So just click the symbol edge.
Not clicking it.
Let's see.
Let me try it again.
Right, you're out of the command for whatever reason. Yeah.
Right.
Try it again. Try picking the center dot. Well, you could do that. Or you could even just draw a window around the whole thing. I think. What's going on? It's not.
It's not seeing it.
Let me see here.
Could they be drawn in paper space for some reason?
Well, it could be. Oh, you know what?
We're not in model space.
I told you we were in model space because it looked like it was heavy, but apparently we're not. So that was my misleading. There you go. Now I'll do it. Sorry about that. Now,
And it's doing it again.
let's see.
It's not picking it.
Well, is it or? See, that's the line. See, it is. You look down here on the bottom of the status bar, it's counting up the things that we've selected.
Okay.
So now if we're through selecting, we hit enter, now they all rotate. So they just didn't highlight. Again, one of those display issues. So now I would go back and set the rest of them same way.
It's interesting. It disappeared from here.
Yeah, but if you zoom in, you'll see them.
Weird.
Yeah, that's a, when I say a zoom issue, I don't mean a CAD zoom. I mean the program zoom.
How come it counts that entity as a 2?
Because it's a symbol and a point,
Oh,
and they're grouped.
okay.
All right, so that's now matched that. What else? There's a couple of things I noticed on one of your other drawings. You had this same kind of stuff because you wound up like, these are leaders.
Yeah, I was meant to ask you about that. Let me show you one that came in right.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, this one, the one over there came in right, and there's one up here.
Yep,
That one came in
right.
right.
Yeah. Now, so what happens is that this is, it's more than just a piece of text. So watch what happens if I move it. Well, that didn't work. I thought it was going to. No, apparently not. I thought it was going to follow. Normally it would. See, this is a leader. All right, so right now that's just, all right, it comes in as separate entities. So that's That's fine. So you could, like this one now, if we move this, you see when you get within a certain distance, the arrowhead goes away.
Yeah.
So you need to be at least a certain distance out with that point. So I'm going to now resize this one, and I'm going to hover here and then just come out along this this straight projection. So if I hover here and just come out, I'll hold the shift key down. Oops, I can't hold the shift key because I'm rotated. I'm just gonna. I'm all like that. And then I would move this. A little bit like that. So I would just do this same type of thing, maybe pull this out a little this way and then bring this guy out enough to get the arrowhead to show up. Oh, I don't see that it is. What is that? Is that a leader? It is a leader. All right, let's try.
Carlson has a lot of those mysteries.
What is going on? All right, so that may be if we go up here and match the
I have
property.
another question I wanted to ask you, but go ahead, do this first.
All right. So if I match, now the arrowhead size and everything should be the same. I don't get that. Why? Let me look at it over here for a minute. Ah, look at that. The arrow size.
The arrow looks squashed.
Yep. And I want it to match that one. And apparently matching doesn't set that. So if I look at this one and I looked at it as closed filled 0.08 as far as the arrow goes. And if I come down here, and that should be closed field 0.08. All right, so I'm going to probably need to do closed fill. So it's got a different scaling on it, apparently.
But how would it get that?
I don't know.
I mean, it's the same annotate command that I use for both of them.
Yep, it is. Line with arrow, dimension style, Carlson SW. This dimension style is Carlson SW. And there's no scaling other than this overall scale factor.
Should I just delete it and try to do it again?
Yeah, or we can just do this. Make double shoreline with arrow. And a line table. We don't want that. Let's just do. Now we could just copy that, or we could do a leader command. I'm just going to take this one and copy it. And I'll copy it from the endpoint to the midpoint. Except I don't have midpoint on. Yes, I do. Oh, I see. Never mind. That's the midpoint of that overall line. All right, so I'm going to put it at just a nearest. And I'll go up here and erase this one. Now, while I'm down here now, I'm going to move this point to just a point down here. I'll move this one to, looky there. How about okay, at that point, let's make this all at 0. Oops, didn't take it. All right. Vertex 1 is at 0, 2, 3. That's the one that needs to be 0. And for whatever reason, it won't let me do it. All right. Let's go back to this one that worked. See, what happened was when I snapped to that near point, it read the Z and set that 1. Now this one is all at the same elevation. So if I then copy this and keep it, I'm going to say dot XY nearest Z of 0. Now, if I move this to here and this, oh, it's still. Why? Wow, it's not letting me do that at all. All right, if I draw a line. Nope, let me see my. Current elevation is 0. Okay. Let's do just annotation. All right, if I just type Vim leader. All right, so that should, it's a little bigger. What's that? 08. There we go. All right, now should be able to do this. And we want I want to set the landing zone. Wow. All right, let's rotate this by this point. Line it up there. Now take this. To here. Now, there we go. Well, don't know much about how to tell you why. That it does that. Just that there's a couple things you can do to fix, like you can move those. You could move that a little bit. Except that just leave it where it is. I'm getting so close to it that I'm running the arrowhead out, so I don't want to do that part. Just leave well enough alone. All right. Save our work here. Make sure these two guys. Right. Now, what I did there, Mike, I just typed a command called view res. Oops, right here. And it can range anywhere from 1 to 20,000, and that's the smoothness of your circles, basically. And it used to be able to have to set this lower than, the lower you had this, the rougher the circles got, but the less often it would have to regen the drawing. But then if you zoomed in on it, it would start to look like stop signs. And if you keep zooming in, it will. But if you set it up to a higher number, it generates enough of the display list at various scales that you don't have to, you don't have to look at those squared off edges on your curves. But it takes a bit more memory to run. But with today's modern computers, that's not even an issue. AutoCAD or Autodesk ought to just take that completely away, because we don't need to deal with it like we did before. Back in the days when memory was so expensive.
Right.
So, but anyway, that's part of the legacy. Now, does this stay?
No.
You're gonna freeze that. You're gonna freeze that attribute, or
Double click on that one time. See what.
Okay. All right. Looks to be in decent shape.
Yeah, I just need to add some more stuff to it.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you need to dimension the width of those easements or whatever that is, or any of that?
Yeah, I need to put a note for both of these.
Okay.
Let me see what the note's supposed to say.
Do they need to be dashed or not? You can decide all that whenever you need to.
Yeah, okay, that I need a note there that says existing 50-foot easement and plat book 21, page 38, and it should be dashed, actually.
All right. So let's see. All right, so let's go into it. Now it's 50 feet here, and it's,
Well, that's different. That's a road. This is a highway out here, which I have to label.
okay.
And this is just a dedication easement.
Okay.
So I need two labels here. I need one for this right of way. I need a different one for this right of way.
Okay.
Because they
All right, well,
originated two different plats.
Okay, so let's set the line style on those.
Oh, the question I wanted to ask you, are the bearings and distances big enough for this plat?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, they looked like it.
Okay.
No, let me see what actual size it is. It is, yeah, they're 800ths. So it's like a Leroy 80. What do you
Okay.
think?
Yeah, that's probably good.
Okay. I'm going to say, if not, you can make them say 100 or 10, a tenth. And then, rearrange as you may or may not need to. Let's see if we did. We could select similar, so that's all of those. And you could set their height to say 10. And then I would maybe move that a little bit further off. That one's still fine. This one, you would want to move down a little, just sort of to match. They're all okay. They stay with the leaders. This one, you want to open this one up a little. Those look okay. Yep, that looks good. And that way they got a little bit more emphasis. Okay,
Okay.
now this is on a layer called access easement. That's highway. So access easement, if I choose all of them, yep, so we can give that a layer line type. You can also join this one to this one and have it go all the way around if you wanted. It's neither here nor there, really. So let's go to access easement. Now, if we do something in here to define the layer here, when I'm in model space, my access easement here is, the line type is set to be continuous. If I select all of those and set that to be by layer, the current line style was set to be continuous when that line was created, and that's okay. But now it is set to by layer, and we can leave it, we can leave that layer for access easement to be continuous in here, but while we're here, we could make it appear different in this viewport if you wanted. No particular need to do it that way. We could just set it globally. And we will find the access easement, and instead of a continuous line style, we're going to have a dashed or a dash 2. Let's see if that's, so
That's
that's
pretty good.
2, but it looks like your septic reserve. So let's see what else. Dash 2 dash X2 is twice as big. It's probably too big a dash. Yeah, that's too big. All right, so we could, let's see. All right, what else do we have? We had that dash. These are dots. We don't want any of those hidden. Hidden's a smaller one. So hidden and hidden 2. There we go. That looks different than your septic reserve.
Yeah.
And if we come back to here, there we go, just like it. All right, now to get the label for that, this is, there's several ways. We can draw some text and draw an arrow and all that, do that kind of thing separately. But when you draw like these distances with an arrow that go there, that they start out at least being a what's called a leader. It's actually part of, it's a dimension. Okay, so if we type, what we're going to do is we're going to make we're going to draw, I say you could draw text. There's probably somewhere here that says draw text with leader or something. Let's see. No, I don't really see it there. So it's really, it's a dimension, but we're going to do it at,
I'm sure there is a text with leader there somewhere. It's not under there. It's under annotate.
oh yeah, okay, that would make
It's under
sense.
annotate and survey text. No, that's not it. I know
No,
I've seen it before.
yeah, that could very likely be label. Well, these things are typically, there's draw text on an arc. See, these are annotation are typically things that read the geometry of the drawing and then draw accordingly. So, oh, here it is, annotate with leader. But you see what it's doing is taking
Yeah.
notation, like if, let's say if we said move label with leader, okay? And
Yeah,
so,
no, I understand. That's not what we're looking for.
right. All right, so we want to simply draw a leader. If we said annotate, it would, get that bearing and distance or whatever. So to do that, we're going to simply, I would have thought they would have, oh, here we go. I would have thought it would have been under draw text, down here with leader, but there is a draw leader. Now,
Leader with text.
yeah, so there's two types. There's a leader, which is a single arrow. There's a multi-leader, which lets you put multiple line or multiple arrowheads from the same label. And that might be something you want to do, like put your text down here and it points to this line and it has another arrow that points to it over here.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have to put the 50 feet across there if you say it's a 50-foot
Right.
leader. So let's try that one. I'll let you choose leader, multi-leader.
Is that it?
Yep, you choose that one. And now here's a couple of things. You can specify the leader arrowhead location, or you could show, where you wanted the landing. That's the little horizontal tick after the arrow, or where you want the label. That's the content, or you can look at some options. So type O and let's look at some options first. And those options are a leader type, the landing, the content type. So let's type C for content type and let's make sure it's set to what we want, which is going to be M text. Okay, so that is. And we just hit enter there. And that should be, let's look at leader landing. The A, you see, is in blue. Your second option. Yeah, see the second option.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So the landing, it says, let's see, enter an option. Use a landing, yes or no. So we're going to say yes, we're going to have it do that. And so now, what is the landing distance? And so at this scale, let's say if we wanted like 1/10 of an inch, 0.36, but let's make it say 0.25. All right, we hit enter. And now let's exit the options, which is the last option there. And now we're going to go back to the original prompt, which says specify the leader arrowhead location. So we're going to snap nearest, and we're going to pick a couple of points that are going to point to those lines.
Which are we picking? Which is we picking first? Leader landing first.
Well, no, see, it says specify the arrow. the leader arrowhead location, or then you
Oh,
can choose
okay,
as an option. So all we have to do is show it. So we're going to click a point.
okay,
So we're going to shift right click or go up and grab our nearest thing. That's tangent. Keep going. There you go. So nearest, and we're going to come down there and pick a point on one of those lines like there. Click, and now you're going to drag it down. See, it says the next point. So come on down enough to get the arrow to pop up, I think. Well, maybe not. All right. So let's just click right there. And now just start typing the note at this point.
okay.
And make sure you turn your cap lock on if you're going to use. There you go. And if you need it, like I would grab this arrow and stretch it to the right so it's not jammed all together. There you go. Yeah, keep going across, and we'll move that a joiner label. All right, so there we go. So is that all that it's going to say, existing 50-foot access?
No,
Okay, then just keep, or I'm sorry, easement. And is that all it needs to say then?
is this multi-line? If I hit enter, does
That
it
is,
count?
it is multi-line, but you don't need to hit enter. We can set the word wrap to make it do that, or you could hit enter, it doesn't matter.
Okay, I want to give a plat book and page number next.
All right, so I would hit enter and then put, yeah.
Okay, and that's it.
All right, then just click off of it somewhere out in space. All right, now, here's what's happened. It drew everything exactly like we
Way
wanted to.
down there.
Yeah, that's it way down there. So what we're going to do is we're going to select it and we're going to change its size a little bit here. So right now we've got an overall scale of 1, a multi-liter style of standard, and it says annotative, it says no, but let's change that to be yes. And there's its annotation scale. So now it should scale up once we do a refresh. So we're going to set the arrow size and a landing distance of 0.25. And then the text, we're going to set to be 0.08. Okay. And let's see, we've also got that landing size. Let's make that, instead of 0.25, we'll make that 0.1. But now there's a gap, a landing distance. That was the 0.1. We need a landing gap right down here. So we'll also set that to 0.075, say. Okay. And now that's set to match what we need, except we do need to, I'm going to double click that again and reset this. And we can either do that, or we can have it do, that.
That's good. Then can we center the PB 21 page 38 under the rest of it?
Yeah, if you want to center it, you would just, go back to highlight or select everything. If I can manage to get the mouse. There we go. And now we change its style like that. Okay.
Okay.
So now I'm going to come over here. Back to paper space. This label here. Whoops. I want to move this down off of that a little bit. Okay, now, because that is a multi-leader, we can add an arrow to this, okay? And let's see if we select it. I'll go back to model. And if we select it, do we have, yeah, so we select it and right click, and right up in here are your options. You see that one that says add a multi-leader?
Yes.
Go ahead and click that. And now you see what it's asking for is specify the leader arrowhead location. So you're going to go up and say, snap to the nearest. There you go. And then go over there to a little further to the right, a little bit more. Keep going a little bit. Yeah, right, a little too far. Back up to about the middle point of that dash, somewhere in there. There you go, right click. Okay, shoot. Let me see here, Mike. Yeah, that's what I thought. See, it's there, but so let's do this, just spread this out a little bit, see if it'll regen out here. Yeah, it's not. Wait, see, that's what it should look like. Yeah, see, we just got to remember that's, if you zoom into it and you see it, that's how it'll plot. It's good. It just doesn't show up because of our Zoom session. Okay. So that's there. Now, to do the same thing for over here, you could do, let's do it over here so we can see it when we come back. Let's just copy this. And we're going to right click, copy, and we'll go from that endpoint to, say, this point here. And then I'm just going to grip edit this and put it to here. And then I'm going to move my text over to here. So see, when I move in that direction, it's going to orient from the other side. So let me set that to none, and we got to fix that landing distance too. Okay, and then our landing distance, what do we say? And 0.1. All right, that should do it. So now you would edit this and change your whatever you needed to say.
It's Plat book 24, page 12.
All right, go ahead.
Oops.
All right, and then just click off of it. We're there. Okay. All right.
What happened to there?
Well, we need to first of all, I think, set All right, and now if we set there we go. It when you go from this orientation and move it to the other orientation, it switches from left to right, and yet we overrode it with a center when we did those.
Okay.
Centered the line, so we had to reset it back to right and then override it again. If we do that was that standard. No, that's not the style I want. I want the multi-text. Multi-leader style. Oh, there's multi-leader with text. We could have done that in one shot. Let's see. And those are icons over here as well. Let me see what that multi-leader style is. Dimension styles. It's yeah, should be a dimension style. Style standard. Not text, but multi-leader style. See, there's only the one. Where do you set that? I would think it would be here. If you set it here, it's dimension style, but not multi-leader style. See if one of my options. Leader type, content. No. M leader style. I have no idea where they've hidden that command, but anyway, you can see the landing distance then should have been 0.25. If it's annotative, yes. Leader format straight versus splines, which are the curvy looking arrows. Arrow filled 0.08. Break size. Enter select the leader break size for multi-layers. Break size is used when dim break is used. All right, no problem there. Leader structure. I'm going to conclude the landing distance. We set to be 0.075. It's annotative. The content is going to be in text. You could put in some default text if you wanted. Set the style. Text angle is always right reading or as inserted or keep horizontal. Text height 0.08. Always left justify. You could choose so that it would, even if you moved it on the other side, it still stays left justified. And now we want the middle of the top line, the top of the top, the middle of the top, bottom of the top. If it's on the left and if it's on the right, I like to set them the same. There's my landing gap. Extend the leader to the text. And we say okay and close. So now if you were to change that by changing this to, whoops, not that. Get rid of the overrides, then that would set that up accordingly. All right, so now back here. See, we've got that, but we need to fix this, obviously. So this arrow either needs to be off of that or this needs to be moved down. So if we rotate that a little bit. How does that look? Okay. Now that is a polyline. So that's oops. We now need to fix this. There we go. Looks a little better. That one's all right. We're no longer conflicting. I think you're in good shape. And now your arrows have decided to show back up at this level, but not at that level, and then again at that level. Sorry about CAD and Zoom, but that's what we got. Now up here, you're a little bit into that septic reserve, so I would just move this a little bit. All right, and then the rest of all that's probably just cosmetic. What else?
I think that's got it.
Okay, okay,
I'll have to put setback limits on it, but
okay. And so, and now again, now this being a multi-leader, let's go back to this idea of, let's say if you're putting, whoops, got something out here in space. Let's see, what is it? At the point, stray, get rid of it, zoom back. There we go. Now, so these were multi-leader entities. We select that. And now what happens is if you move this text, for instance, you see the leaders go with it.
okay.
All right, which was what we wanted. That's different from this one. This one started out as a leader, but then it got exploded into just text and a single leader. So multi-leader, when you have a multi-leader, you can add, like you can, do any number of things that you're pointing to, okay? But a single leader, not a multi-leader, is just a single arrow. So let's say you're going to label something else. If you draw leader, there's a leader, or an arrowhead with line would recreate the leader, but it would blow it up into the line, the arrowhead. Here's a leader with text. Here's a leader, which is also with text. This leader with text actually draws it as a leader, but then explodes it into the line work, the arrowhead, and the text. Okay, so if you do a leader, You give it a start. Let's just go there and we'll say, we'll give it a point here. And so I'm through that. I want to do my annotation. So I'm going to hit enter. And I'm just going to type it. First line of annotation might be, this is line 1. Next line. And now the last. And hit enter. So now over here's our text. Here's our leader. Boy, that should not have. See, it should, oh, it does do that. All right, so we undo that. So for whatever reason, this thing got. All right. The leader style is Carlson SW, but it's not annotative. Carlson SW. We set all that up. We would set it to be annotative here. Text standard text height 0.08. Let's see, now we want the standoff. Could be okay. All right, let's see what that looks like then. With the leader, we'll go from here down to here. We'll say annotation is line 1. Next line. And now. All right, so decided to not be annotative for whatever flipping reason. 1 to 100, paper text height. But where is that? Yeah. Don't like the way Carlson does it, but anyway, let's see what else you could do. If we draw leader with text. All right, let's do the same thing. Automatic, horizontal. Use in text, landing style, horizontal tick, text size scalar, arrow scalar. This is your best way. Text input prompt or use preset and say, okay, we're going to set here. We'll come down here. And now we'll simply say, this is text line 1, followed by line 2, and then the final line. Now, we'll open that up so the word wrap doesn't fix it. So there's that. Now, if we look at that and we see that that is in text, it's middle left justified. We really want that to be top left. Justified. Why doesn't it keep? Because if I move this, see, that should move with it. All right. So you could just simply do this, and you just have to sort of manually move that. I don't know why. See, Carlson does all this stuff to try to make it easier for people who don't like to deal with dimensions. Now, to make this behave the way this multi-leader did, if I drew a dimension, drew a leader, and we started here. Dimension text. Well,
And I have another Zoom meeting at 5 o'clock I've got to go to.
oh, okay, good gracious, it's getting long. All right. Well, anyway, I would probably try that when you need to do them with this leader with text or multi-leader with text, because I think that's going to ask you to set these, and you can do them in terms you're familiar with, like 0.08. You choose if you want to use M text or not. So you can set those scalar values up so you don't have to keep changing them. But you may need to move something separately and line it up. Okay.
Right.
So anyway, that should be a good start. And again, if you want to share these things with outside folks, I'd clean all this stuff up before you send them out, but leave
Yeah,
them.
I will.
Yeah, leave them there when you need to borrow from.
Yeah.
And let's make sure our table's still there. Okay. Well, looks pretty good. Anything else that you can think of that that could come up with a short answer without me going down a rabbit hole?
Okay. Look, I can't think of anything immediately.
All right, sir. Well, with that, I will post you our results.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. Let me stop the,
Save this before I forget it.
yeah. All right, so I stopped the share. I'll now stop. I mean, I stopped my control. I now stopped your share. And that should, let's see, I'll stop the recording.